Hey, Angeline, how's it going?
Morning, Janelle. Good to see you again.
Yeah, likewise. The feeling is mutual. And
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we had a good conversation last time, didn't we?
yeah, it
It was,
was
I
really
really enjoyed
phenomenal.
it.
Yeah, that's why I thought let's meet. It has been like a minute since we last met, so I thought let's ping you if you are available. Let's have one more conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, what exciting things are we going to talk about today, I guess?
Uh, This time we're going to be focusing more on your routine, Angeline. Last time we talked about, I guess, your book. We talked about your viewpoints, but this time I like let's go with the flow and tell me how do you are also really into fitness. Last time you were I told you you look like Linda Hamilton. So how's your routine going on in terms of fitness?
Yeah, still keeping the consistency going. It's just for me, it's playing the long game. I just keep turning up. Um, and the benefits have been more than I could have ever imagined, really. We kind of know about the health benefits and that you get a bit more energy and, just feeling generally more well. But for me, it's been a life changing, really. It's
Yeah.
changed my confidence. Um, there's been some crazy things happening in my life since starting my own podcast.
Hmm.
And just so much more confident, so much more standing firm, I guess, in my identity. And for me, it's kind of included living a more authentic life as well. Not just running with what everybody else wants or
Right.
expects, either societally or as a woman, gender roles and that, of my generation, I had to kind of relearn lots of things there, that psychological things, obviously my interpersonal psychological work as an interpersonal psychotherapist has informed a lot of that journey as well. So it's kind of been a real holistic journey for me, working on the psychological, working on the physical health. And I think that as well, I've been coming across lots of people on my podcast talking about the somatic angle from things. Because I think often we try and join a gym and just go with the physical. I want to get well, I want to feel healthy. And so we join a gym. But that on its own, I think will have quite limited results in my experience and, in the people that I'm talking to as well. Um, so I guess my fitness journey has been a real holistic,
Wow.
whole life changing and
Inspiring.
lifestyle changing experience, really.
Nice. I'm so glad to hear that. And Angela, and like a lot of people, like as winter is now, like in my state, winter has started. So a lot of people they feel like they wanna do the exercise, they wanna work out. But when morning comes and they feel like they wanna stay in that bed. So how they can get rid of that mindset and they can simply start exercising.
Yeah, it's the hardest thing is to get started.
Yeah.
Our survival instincts are quite strong, and unfortunately, they will send us messages that aren't always helpful because they're going to want us to conserve energy. All of our survival instincts are telling us to stay on the sofa or stay in bed. It's winter has hit all of a sudden here in the UK.
Okay.
It seems that the temperatures have really gone down quite quickly this year. Um, and so the dark mornings, it's difficult. It's really difficult. The body. I think the transition of the seasons in that way, I think our bodies are going through that transition, and it's a bit of a uh, another level, if you like, where you really have to double down on that mindset
True.
of, I like what Mel Robbins says on
Mhm.
her podcast, the 5 4 3 2 1,
Yeah.
which, I do a version of that. I kind of sort of say to myself, right, it's gonna last for about 3 or 4 minutes where I'm gonna think, oh no, it's cold, it's dark. Whether it's going to the gym or going out for a run. I started running with some friends as well from the
Oh,
gym. So
interesting.
I hated running, absolutely hated it. But I'd only ever tried it on my own.
Hmm.
But now there's a few of us that go, and it's just nice. We have a good old chat going around.
Definitely.
It's a really supportive group, so I would definitely recommend finding a community of some description, and I don't think I would sustain the gym either, if I'm honest, if I didn't have people that now, we've become friends and we support each other. Hugely important, which again, I talk a lot about from the interpersonal psychotherapy aspect.
Right.
Um, we need each other. We really do.
No
We
man is
we
an
s-
island, I guess.
Say again.
No man is an island.
No, absolutely. And sometimes we learn to cope on our own, and that can be from childhood for many different reasons. And we think that we don't need it because we've had to adapt. For whatever reason, we've had to sort of struggle through on our own. We might learn that we can't rely on others, so we have to just muddle through ourselves. But really, it's a game changer if we can learn. That was a process for me as well. Along this journey to health, it was learning that actually maybe I can rely on others. I was somebody that kind of paddled my own canoe and thought that
Hmm.
no, you've got to sort it yourself. Um, and it's really difficult to sustain that.
True.
We
True.
can get we can get periods of motivation where we'll feel a bit more motivated, but that doesn't last.
Yeah.
It's not about motivation, it's not about willpower. Um, it's about habits, and it's about showing yourself that you can keep going. And when you do that, that's when the confidence starts to build
True.
because you start to show yourself that you can do hard things. And like I say, that 3 or 4 minutes that it takes to sort of get out of bed and get dressed, it feels, if you do that, then it feels different. You're doing it now, you know, and you've got past that awful, uncomfortable bit of getting out of bed in the morning. Um, for me, I have to do it first thing. By the end of the day, I'm tired. I've had too much time to talk myself out of it. So for me, it's early and get set up for the day. Um, so it's about finding what works for you. It's about um, finding out what time of day as well suits you. Uh, and it's just turning up. It's that consistency. Like I say, it's not about motivation. That's not going to keep
Hmm.
keep it going. That you might be able to sustain it for 2 or 3 months,
True.
but then it's probably going to wear off. And if you try and do something extreme quite quickly as well, mine was quite a gradual build up, especially in the gym. I was quite worried that I was going to injure myself because I felt really weak at the beginning. So for me, it was a really chip away at it approach, play the long game. Um, because if you sort of try and do something extreme, then the chance of rebound is higher. There is a lot of research around that. because you're shocking your body too much. And you've got to have a day off as well, at least a day
Right.
off or two for the body to recover.
Hmm.
There's a lot of research around that it's about hitting a balance and finding how much your body. So you need to challenge your body, definitely, but not to the extreme that there's a line that becomes unhealthy, I guess, you know.
And uh, when you are like in your downtime, when Angeline is not going to gym or working out, what sort of things do you like to do in
I
your
love to
downtime?
meditate. I
Oh,
love to meditate. Um, and just that's been a huge part of my journey, my health journey as well, really. Because when you do that, when you create that space of quiet, um, which is difficult when with our busy lives, it's really difficult to switch off. And again, our survival instincts are kind of working against us because we think that we have to have everything figured out. Our
right.
mind is going to be working 100 miles an hour.
Mm.
Um, and it's difficult to switch off, when especially when you're self-employed and you're, in a kind of creative space, I suppose, with the podcast in particular.
True.
Um, it's difficult to switch off sometimes. So that meditation is crucial for me.
Definitely.
And I had a hard time. That was something that I had to learn because I'm second generation Irish, I think I mentioned on the last podcast. So I've really, it's in my DNA to work hard and
Yeah.
to figure things out and to be productive, constantly productive. And this is part of our culture now that we're supposed to
Mm.
be
True.
constantly productive. And it really goes against our basic human needs that we need that downtime. And when I get in the quiet, that's when I can be fully aligned with my values. And I'm a big believer of, the universe, and being in tune with ourselves to find out what's right for me. I do think that we find our strength and what we're good at. We don't have to be good at everything.
True.
And we're not supposed to be.
You
It's
don't have
not,
to be,
you know,
I
we
guess,
often,
Jake of all trades and master of none, right?
absolutely, yeah. And we sometimes feel a failure then when we're trying to do stuff that, it's not designed for us, really.
Yeah.
Um, so I think it's about giving up control. We like to control everything that we can because helps us feel safe and secure. We will always look for that. So meditation for me is about surrendering in a way to and tuning in to what's right for me and what's the next right decision for me. And I often, in fact, I think it's becoming more so. The more I do that, the more clueless I become, and
Right.
that's good.
Yeah,
That
definitely.
that's a good thing. I'm kind of being open to and sort of saying, yeah, that feels right. Let's just do that. I don't know, it was very last minute receiving the message from you, but it was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. I've got an hour, let's do it.
And
So it's very much that way for me now, and that meditation helps me um, stand securely in my decisions as well. Again, that's feeding into the confidence bit and knowing who I am. So it all works together really to strengthen that sense of self, which is something we talk a lot about in psychotherapy. So it's for me, it's coming from all angles in a gradual way. The psychological, the physical, that well-being, and noticing what's going on in our body as well during that meditation.
yeah,
You know, those stresses and previous traumas, we know that trauma gets stuck in the body. Um, so it's about connecting with, and I do breathing exercises and things like that, where you notice where there's any tension in the body. Um, and then it's about tuning into that. It's not about getting rid of that tension straight away because the body is trying to tell us, if we're overstressed or if we're worrying about something, we'll often have tension or pain in the body. And it's really useful to say, okay, what's that pain about? If we ask ourselves, we will get the answer. If we get in that quiet space and let allow for those answers to come in, it's
And
like being tuned in to a radio wave.
about acceptance, Angela, and correct me if I'm wrong. Like if we are having some sort of emotional issues, first we get to acknowledge the feeling that yes, we do have that. And by accepting, we can get rid of it, like through meditations, by introspection. But first and foremost thing is to accept the feelings that we do have it. Like if we try to, avoid it, then it won't work, right?
Absolutely, yeah. That's so true. And it's sometimes the most difficult part when people go through therapy, where it's not easy. It's not easy when we look at ourselves in depth, and take accountability for our decisions, really. It's easy to blame our circumstance, blame the external pressures. And some of them are very real, don't get me wrong. We have responsibility. Um, but sometimes we put a bit too much pressure on ourselves that's coming from ourselves more than, often people expect more of themselves than they do others, especially in relationships.
Yeah.
Again, that will be a pattern of functioning. There'll be patterns in relationships where we work hard. If we really think about it, then sometimes if we say, actually, I seem to be the only one that's working hard in this relationship. Um, and that's true for me in most relationships, actually, then there's a common denominator there that this is about the way that you've learned to function in relationships. So it's about gaining awareness as well around what's going on with us and how we function and why. You know, it's enlightening, really.
Yeah.
But only with awareness can we make changes.
And Angeline, I want to ask you this question. Like, what are some of your personal rules that you never break, come hell or high water?
I won't go against my intuition, that inner voice, some people will call it. Some people will call it spirit. Um, and that I think that's about gaining confidence in that voice as well. Like I say, the more you do it, it's like flexing a muscle. The
Hmm.
more you do it, the more confident you become in listening to that. So I'll always ask myself, why am I considering this choice? If there's a decision to be made, if I'm not sure about it, do I need to make this choice straight away? 90% of the time, I don't. I can sit on it and see if the feeling grows or if it starts to fade away. Usually, if it's right, then it won't leave me alone. It will keep stay there, and the feeling will become stronger, but it will also feel good. It will feel that it's aligned with my values. So basically, I won't go against my values. If the answer to the question is, well, I'm considering this because of money, then the answer is no. That's not a good enough reason to go down that route. If it's aligned with my ethos that I have for the podcast, really, which is to help people feel okay about themselves and to know that they're doing the best they can, really, most people are. A lot of people have shame, a lot of shame. Most people have things that they don't want others to know about. I don't think people get through life generally without some kind of mistakes and stuff that they wish, they would have done differently. So it's about knowing that kind of thing and being courageous. Some decisions might involve being open and honest and being vulnerable.
Mm.
Nobody wants to be vulnerable, right?
True.
But you might be struggling with a decision because actually that's going to feel really vulnerable. If
Yeah.
that's the case, it's probably worth doing.
Hmm.
It's
Got
it,
it.
you know, so when I say that it will feel good, it won't always feel comfortable.
Yeah.
It
Wow.
won't always feel safe because we will often go for the safer option, which might mean money. It might because we'll go for the security and the safeness of that. Whereas actually the other route might be a bit more uncomfortable, but it might be aligned with your values, you
Definitely.
know, to
Yeah.
be open. Again, those values, be open, be honest. Um, don't try and hide who you are, which I spent many years doing that. I just didn't think that there was parts of myself that wouldn't be acceptable in certain relationships and in general. But as a result of that, you become lonely because you don't connect with people on a meaningful level when you keep them at arm's length. You feel that you need to do that because ultimately there's a belief that, well, I can't rely on anybody else or they won't like me, if they knew that. I had a period of life where I drank far too much.
Right.
And so whenever there's alcohol or drugs or any, I don't like to say it was a full-on addiction because I didn't drink every day.
Did you do it for the
But
sake of
certainly,
fitting in with the group for that reason, Angeline? To fit in with
yeah,
the group?
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And culturally, like I say, second generation Irish. Any family get-togethers where there was alcohol, we would always go for a meal or to a pub. It's a cultural thing as well. So it was very difficult to not drink. If you were in a social environment, then I would really struggle not to drink in those situations. Um, and there's an extreme, we're looking for a high. We're looking for those dopamine hits.
True.
And when we live in that extreme, like busy world, drink was a way to try and counteract that, I think, for me as well. It was a relaxation, it was a celebration, it was something that to do if you'd had a stressful week, you know. So any reason really, it was, but that was the mindset. Um, so, but alcohol and things like that, it's going to impact your decisions.
True.
Um, and when I look back, friends from that time as well, that they were drinkers and
Hmm.
they had a similar pattern to me in that we didn't really express deep and meaningful things with each other. We didn't really do that. And so I think you attract, whereas now I've got much more meaningful relationships and feel connected with others.
Also, the
Um,
people that you have, they compel you to push harder, push the envelope in terms of your fitness, be it in your like gym buddies, Angeline. The people that you surround with, it also matters, right?
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. Um, And people, it depends where you are in that journey, really. And everybody has different experiences, I think. Most people have a journey to um, wellness, or their version of where they want to be, their version of success, I guess. For me, success is feeling connected with others, and feeling. I love the quote by Maya Angelou: "You need to like who you are, like what you do, and like how you do it."
Wow.
And I've just thought of that actually. That would have been a really good short answer to your question, your original question,
Couldn't agree
you
more.
know? Say again.
I couldn't agree more. It's really phenomenal.
Yeah,
Entire quote.
yeah. Well, Maya Angelou had, she just had a knack, didn't she, for summing things up in less than 10 seconds, really. Um, I think when we do that, again, that will feed into that confidence, and we can stand firm in who we are. Uh, it's not about perfection, quite the opposite. It's about being real, and embracing the bits that we're ashamed of as well, really, and saying, yeah, well, actually, it's not about leaving that behind. It's about that was a part of my life, and I've learned so much through it. It's made me a better therapist because I can empathize with so many different experiences, my own, like I say, issues in relationships and connecting with others, in alcohol, in I had an experience of abuse growing up, sexual abuse growing up as well. So psychologically, that's what I was talking about earlier, when working on the psychological aspect and the impact that those things have. Growing up as a woman, in the 70s and 80s, we were second class citizens, you know, and this is true for different minority groups, really, that it's different versions of, it's not the same, but we were minimized. We were minimized in the 70s and 80s. And so that has an impact in confidence and feeling that what you have to say matters. I never believed that. I barely used to speak as a child. I was very quiet, very shy. Um, and again, that was a bit cultural as well. The Irish culture, be seen and not heard.
Yeah,
My generation was a little bit better than the generation before, but that was definitely, children were to be seen and not heard. You were supposed to be, Irish Catholic, good little girl. All those things don't, you know, go against the grain. Whereas now, if I've got something to say that doesn't quite agree with somebody else, then I'll do it in a respectful way. But I will do that now. That it's about feeling as important as the next person.
definitely. And you
It's
are
really
no longer
important.
a people pleaser, right? You don't do it for the sake of what people would think of you. You do it because
Absolutely.
you are worthy of it. You don't care about people in terms of like sharing your opinions.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there's that sort of thing's called developmental trauma, really, where we feel that we need to suppress our opinions, our emotions. And when we do that, and we put others' needs before ours, we don't have boundaries, we're people pleasers, etc. That's developmental trauma, where our basic human needs are denied. Um, and so that's a huge game changer when you learn to sort of try and break those cycles and break those habits of functioning, those patterns of functioning. in relationships where you become an equal um, participant in society and in relationships. And that's really important that we bring our authentic selves, because when we have the courage to do that, that's I believe that we all have something to bring to the table. I really do. And so I think it's really important for every individual on the planet
Definitely.
to break those cycles, whatever they are, and we all have them, no matter what background. We've all been, um, I don't know, for want of a better word, we've all been through those challenging experiences, I guess, where we feel minimized in some way, I think.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
Yeah.
different, there's a hundred thousand different scenarios of that, but to realize that we're okay, we're enough, just as we are.
Hmm.
We that's so true. We don't really have to do anything other than be ourselves and be we just naturally contribute to society and the wider and on a global scale. We are a collective, aren't we?
True.
I think
Yes, we are.
that's global. When we can achieve global change when we first of all we have to find that our individuality, and then we can build on that. And I believe that once that's the stepping stone to affecting global change. And it excites me because I feel that at the moment there's a real global movement actually in leadership for more compassionate and empathy and leading with humanity. You know, there's been a real culture of work, 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 and corporations
Yeah.
really driving people into the ground.
True.
Burnout levels, anxiety, depression on the increase.
True.
But I feel that there are people around the world, and this is what I get from my meditation as well, where you start to feel more connected on a global scale. And I do feel that there's a movement with some people who are driving this change, and I'm really excited about that.
Interesting.
I'm
Wow.
going to a conference actually next week. It's a talk with Jacinda Ardern. She was the New Zealand uh, Prime Minister or President. I'm not sure what New Zealand call it, but
Okay.
she's an
Interesting.
incredible speaker,
Really?
leadership
Wow.
and compassionate leadership.
Okay. So once you come back, drop me a line and we're gonna talk about
Mm.
the lessons that you learned from that conference.
Oh, that'd be amazing. I'm so excited about it. I'm going with a
Yeah.
friend. Yeah, I'm hugely excited about that. But again, I'm here, with the meditation, and when I talk about being connected, you start to find out little bits like that, and you start to attract, somehow the universe puts these people in your place,
True.
in your path, where you start to hear, oh, right, they're doing that. They're talking about compassionate leadership, and here's somebody else, and it just goes like that. And then that's when okay, this is the right next thing to focus on. And I had a guy on the podcast there a few weeks ago where he does leadership in corporate businesses, and he goes in and talks to staff and lead managers and how to lead compassionately.
Oh, will you
um,
share me the
you
link of
know
your podcast, Angeline? I'm not familiar with your podcast. Is it on YouTube?
okay, YouTube, yeah, and it's on Apple and Spotify. Yeah,
Okay.
we're video now. We've gone video, so that
Wow. Phenomenal. Great. I guess there's some network connectivity issues. Angeline, hello.
oh, I've lost you now.
Yeah. Hello. Hi there.
Oh,
Angeline. Okay.
yeah, I
You're
can
back.
hear you. You're back. Yeah.
Oh, great. How many episodes have you done, Angeline?
Um, I've been going over a year now, well over a year.
Okay.
So on audio, there's about 45, I believe. And on video, we just started in September. So I think we've got about 4 or 5 episodes that have already published. Um, but we've recorded some more. We're recording nearly every week. We've
Nice.
we've got so we have an episode that goes out every week.
Wow. And like you said, it's all about starting, and slow progress is better than no progress. So yes, you are doing
Yeah, absolutely.
wonderful. Yeah, nice.
I'm just turning up and seeing what happens.
Great, great. And on that note, Angeline, I won't hold you any longer. We're gonna catch up soon once you return from that conference. But in the meantime, this entire podcast for me has been therapeutic. I really loved talking to you, and even listening to your voice was quite soothing. You have that therapeutic voice as well. So thank you for being
Thank
a
you.
part of this podcast.
What a pleasure. Lovely to see you again. And
Likewise.
I'm really enjoying connecting with you in these
Yeah,
conversations.
definitely.
And I'll give you a shout when I get back
Yeah,
from the conference.
definitely, definitely. Looking forward to it already. Take care.
All right. Take care.